And man, oh man, how do we do this thing again? It's been a hot minute. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the Book Club Bros podcast, guys. And we are back, and brand new year 2024 is the book club year, but we are still back on the original book from last year, The Imposter No More by Jill Stoddard. And guys, we had to take a break. We got holidays coming up. We're expanding the team, kind of
Life events.
life events happen and stuff like
His
that.
team
But
just got bigger.
Yeah.
but we are finally back, and yeah, this one, guys, get ready. Take a second.
We
Breathe in,
normally
breathe
break
out.
our books up into 4 parts, and we're about to do 3 parts.
We're
right
about
now.
to do three parts
back
in
3
one
parts.
episode, just to
Yep.
keep it all fresh, because we did finish, and it's been 3 weeks, so we're trying to keep the book per month still up, even though
Mhm.
we're not recording. So, guys, yeah, get ready. Get your coffee or whatever you're drinking, because sit down, because we are going to fly through about a little over 200 pages worth of highlights from what we found. But
Mm-mm.
if you guys are new here, guys, we do book clubs, or book club, and we're reading along. And this one was that Imposter No More book that I mentioned.
This
And
was Miguel's book, right? This was
Miguel's
his
book.
third book. So
Third.
we're about to. We've almost been doing this for a year.
I know.
bro.
How
We're
many books
three
are we
books
down again?
away. 3 books away from a year. I was looking at it yesterday.
Yeah. Well, definitely, I think 2024, I think we should do that at the end too. But 2024, I want to do a highlight of
Mhm.
like, here's all the books we read, and then here's our favorites and why.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it'll be really good.
That
But
would be fun.
speaking of books, let's dive into this one. Chapter 4 is where we ended, or chapter 3 is where we ended. So we're starting off on chapter 4, and we got to fly. We're going from 4 to 14, so 10 chapters. But
Holy cow.
yeah, I'll start us off. Page 58.
Mm-hmm.
Got a cool highlight. Humans make an estimated 35,000 decisions on any given day, the great majority of which occur on autopilot. So this is basically the chapter 4 is all about getting off of autopilot and the gift of being in the presence. But I thought that was crazy. 35,000 decisions.
Yeah, bro.
It talks about how like your brain focuses on sorting it like narrows it down to the important ones versus the ones that you make on autopilot. We're so complex. It's crazy.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's wild.
Humans are so complex. It's crazy.
I really did like this, how basically she said that sometimes because your brain is on autopilot so often that, yeah, you won't even realize you just made a decision and it affects someone else. And then you're
Mhm.
like, oh, snap. Like I was you were just unaware. And yeah, I
sure.
thought this was really good.
Mine, I mean, I'm jumping all the way to 64 on
Go
this, but mindful eating. When she's talking about this, I was like, wow. I had to self-reflect because I'm like, okay, when I eat, I don't know. Nobody just like sits down and watches people eat. But if you guys have seen me eat, I'm a pretty fast eater.
Just get
And
through
like
it.
I've been like that my whole life, and my fiance is always saying like, why are you eating like that? Like the food's literally not gonna go anywhere. You could just like enjoy it. You need to enjoy the food. And I'm reading this and I'm like, wow, like there's so many layers of why like I eat like this. And she was saying like these steps, like you have to just put the food in your mouth, don't even chew, don't even just like experience the food. And I was reading that whole part and I'm like, wow, like I'm gonna try it out. And literally these past couple weeks I've been trying it out and I'm like, okay, I feel so much better about
That's
myself
hilarious.
because
Does
I don't feel like I'm anxiously eating anymore.
yeah.
Like I'm
How about
actually
that?
enjoying the food. So that was great. That was
Does
great.
does the food taste different?
Yes.
Really?
I think I've
Thinking about it
gotten
more.
more. Yeah, exactly. Like you get to experience it,
That's
and it's like, okay,
crazy.
this is a lot better.
That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah, I had one just jumping back one page. I thought it was cool. This is something that I really took from like this book was just returning to the present. It says it's an ongoing process of returning to the present and letting go of judgments over and over again. And whenever you think about it, right, like 35,000 decisions, but you only like seriously focus on X amount, but even that X amount you're focusing on is still a bunch. So like after you have a decision that's either tough or easy or whatever it is, you have to move on because you have another decision and another decision. So it's like I think that one thing I really took from like this passage or at least this chapter is like if you make a mistake or whatever, you got to be able to flush it. Almost just like when you're in sports and stuff like that. Just return to the present, and she even talks about return to the present and apologize immediately or whatever it is. Take care of that and then just move on so you can keep on pushing forward. And
Yeah.
that's something that I took from that.
Yeah. Let's jump to chapter 5. I think the pace we should go is like everyone, let's get our
Get
key
one-
highlight,
one
and then
highlight, yeah.
we'll just keep ripping.
With
Yeah.
it.
So chapter 5, keep your why close, getting clear on what it's all for. All right, now let's go through.
Yeah, bro.
This one was a good chapter because this
Yeah.
one was about like basically listing the common values, like what are your core values that like reside with you, and like why you're basically, you know, driven to do any of these things. You know what, I'm gonna do this will be my highlight. I got mine. You guys good?
Yeah,
You got
right.
yours? So building off the list of common values, she lists off about, I don't know, maybe like 20 or 30 different types of ones between accepting, wealthy, you know, respectful, genuine, giving. But she goes, take the example of spending more time with your family or friends or partner, etc. Let's say you commit to getting together every Sunday night for dinner, and if you're scrolling through social media, checking email, or taking calls throughout the evening, you may be showing up, but consider how you're doing so. If you care about your family, which is a tier 1 domain, you commit to spending more time with your parents, sibling, kids, or cousins, which is tier 2, which is like actions or goals. And the most important variable is in the values equation is how you show up, which is tier 3, which is quality. So that's kind of the breakdown of the entire chapter. It's just about like domain, goals, and actions based on that domain, and the qualities that you present yourself while doing them.
And it shows that like it's like a perfect example of going through the motions if
Yeah.
you're not completing that third one, right? Like you only have 2 of the 3 pieces of the cone, or whatever you want to call it. It's like, because they even use an example like showing up, I was spending time with her, but I was on my phone.
Yeah.
So I was like, value is time, but it's not quality time.
Yeah.
And you're there with your family. So you got family, time, but you're missing the quality. Like it's a key ingredient.
Mm-hmm. But that was my highlight. That was like a really good one from this that I thought was good. But what's your guys's?
Yeah, I'll go with mine. The write your epitaph part. Yeah,
Uh-oh.
sorry.
No, it's good. It's okay. We'll do this together. I got
Oh,
another
man.
highlight. Go ahead.
But it was just so great because once again it just puts you into perspective. It's like she gives you the person who didn't do much or didn't try enough, and it's like, okay, they were known for this, this, and this, and you're reading it. It's like, okay, I don't want to be that person. Like I want to be the one that's okay. They fell down, they got back up. They tried this, but it just didn't matter. Like they were scared about it, but they just still went ahead and did it. Like they persevered and all those things, but it just comes with you have to actually try and just do all these different things. But that was a really good perspective to have.
Right. And I feel like whenever they put it that way, she even says it's morbid. It makes it so real. But I actually got to experience this vividly over break because one of my wife's like really good teacher friends passed away of a heart attack. And like it just was like a shock to everyone. So we go to the funeral and everything, and just so many people showed up. Way more than anyone even expected. The service got started late because more people came back than anyone expected to have happen. So it's just like, oh my gosh, I got to really see like, you know, did people think that this person is super skilled, or did they think that they're super loving and stuff like that, or was this if you could just see the impact at how many people that he touched, and I was like, wow, that like it like crystallized it for me. I was like, that's pretty cool to be able to see firsthand the impact that you can have on someone's life. Because I mean, if you're living your life like trying to march forward and be positive and stuff like that, you never know how many people you can like impact, I feel like.
Yeah, bro.
But yeah, I thought that was really
Yeah,
cool.
that was crazy. You were telling me about that, and you literally had dinner with them like the week before. Or
Yeah,
something.
I had dinner with him the week
Wow.
before,
Yeah.
so it was
Yeah,
crazy.
wow.
It puts life's
Life is
precious.
delicate.
Life
Yeah,
is precious, man.
it is, bro.
All right, I'll just throw one out there. We'll go jump to 85. One of my highlights was the only thing I want you to do forever is constantly ask yourself, what is this in service of each time you are faced with a choice? And I put down that can be tough to do.
Mm-hmm.
That can be tough to do because if you really ask yourself that question, when you would always make the right decision if you ask yourself that question and you make it. But like showing up for yourself and like having to be accountable to yourself with some of the things that like you could do in private or whatever that no one's watching, like that's where I feel like the real completion of like this process shows up. Because I mean, a lot of us can put on a front in front of a crowd. So like being able to just like ask yourself those questions, is this going to be beneficial to me? I watched this video on Twitter yesterday of like this guy, like they said this guy casually dropped the best definition of discipline ever, and he was like in this ice bath and he's saying like, you know, discipline is like the highest form of self-love, because you're denying something that you want right now in service of something later. Like that's what discipline typically is. So I mean, I was like, that's definitely something that I took from that chapter.
Yeah, bro.
All right,
We
moving
move.
on. Chapter 6, holding outcomes lightly.
I like this quote.
You want to read it?
The summit is what drives us, but the climb itself is what matters. Conrad Anchor. We'll see if we see his name again.
Oh, I'm gonna do the. I have a highlight on 95. I thought this was interesting. She she shouted out Eminem. It was pretty interesting. So she kind of goes through Eminem's like come up, and then she kind of points out. She goes, "Would selling records and earning the respect of his peers still be his goal? Most certainly, and he'd like to keep going even if he never landed on those outcomes." And then it breaks off to a section that says redefining success. Would we still consider Marshall Mathers, aka Eminem, a success if he never became the famous Eminem? In many cultures, success is defined almost exclusively by goal achievement. And then it drops down, and I highlighted, and it says, because here's the thing, goals are often outcomes that are largely out of our control. Which I thought that was very interesting. Just a little bit of a culture setback. Like, that is very true. Like, we do only focus on goals, on the outcomes of the goals, not really the goals themselves, on determining if people are successful or not.
I was watching a podcast with Michael Porter, and he's going through this whole thing that I'm kind of trying to adopt right now, where he's just habits, not goals. It's all about habits. It's not about goals, because if you create those habits and whatever, then they'll produce whatever you can out of themselves. But yeah, habits, not goals, because goals are not widely, but sometimes out of your control. So
Yeah. I like that. Habits, not goals.
habits, not goals.
I mean, she mentions it a little bit with the Atomic Habits book.
Have you read that book, guys?
Good book.
Yeah, but
What, for real?
yeah, I read that too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's a
Maybe
good one.
maybe we'll do for a
Not
book
before
club.
this. Wasn't much of a reader.
That's a really good book, though.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so
you
the
got?
part that I really loved was the 4 Ps.
What page?
Pause.
104.
104.
All right.
Five.
Pause. Pause. Pick. Persist or pivot. I just think this is good, especially the whole like Landon was talking about, just being able to, like, if you're able to stop and think, and just filter out everything that you're going through in that moment, it just makes things so much better. I think pausing, that's been another thing. This book really just revealed to me how much anxiety I have, like really bad anxiety, as far as like just situations and saying stuff I don't mean on the initial thought, and not actually filtering out my thoughts and being able to, present my ideas well. But this is just a really good way to live by. But I think the whole pause idea it just struck me the most, because I'm always told, thanks, just quick shout out to my partner. I love her so much. She's the greatest. But she always tells me, you need to think about what you're saying. Like, stop just talking openly and just saying stuff. You need to sit here and think about what you're saying and just filter it, because your words they control a lot. So
I love it.
that's my thing. Pause.
It's a
Just
good
pause.
highlight.
Yeah,
Shout out to Jess.
seriously.
All right. My highlight is just something small, then we can move on. It says, it's on page 100, kind of midway through. She's talking about, kind of more talking about like goals and what happens when you get there. And she says, in her book, Get It Done, Ayelet Fishback cites research that finds individuals who achieve their goals limit their actions until a new target is in sight. And I was like, I think that's the premise, or like the basis of why you don't just set a goal and maybe cling to it. Or, I mean, maybe have multiple goals, but if you get fixated on a certain goal, you even see it. I mean, I relate almost everything on this podcast to sports, but someone wins a championship, and then all of a sudden it's like the hunger isn't quite there anymore. If you weren't in love with just the one person, maybe 2, 3, I think Steph Curry, but like Kobe Bryant, no matter what, he just wanted to get better. Just get better. Like, he wanted to win the championship more than anything, but more than that, he wanted to get better that day or whatever it was. So I think that the people, like, you can really see that bleed through with the people that, like, win something and then they just get complacent. And I think that's human nature for the most part, is to be that way. So just really trying to be conscious about that and kind of fight back.
Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis, Jordan Poole.
Jeez. Yeah, yeah.
You could go on and on with sports players. It's too easy.
All right,
Chapter
moving on.
7.
Chapter 7, the harsh inner critic. Um, yeah, this one was a good one. I'm trying to let me see if I can find one.
Come through.
Yeah, there's another.
This one had a lot of charts and
Mhm.
stuff. My highlight was basically on page 109. It was an inner voice says that I'm not good enough. I don't belong here. It's designed to keep us on our toes, to prevent us from becoming complacent and losing our footing in the community, in our community. I thought it was just an interesting way to, you know, picture a inner critic where it's like it's almost protecting us more than like a harmful thought. You know, I thought that was an interesting way she put it.
This was a shorter chapter too.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
You got anything?
Yeah, mine's on 116. Near the top. My own pattern is to independence and competence my way through things. I had a mom who let me down a lot, so let me restart that. I had a mom who let me down a lot and whose love was conditional on academic success. So I developed a thought: you can't count on others. You have to do everything well on your own. My behavior of juggling all the things independently and competently helped avoid disappointment and criticism and even contributed to my success. It worked until it didn't. Eventually, I tried to juggle too many balls on my own, or like 27 too many, and they eventually all came crashing down. I just highlighted that part because it's like conditional on academic success. Definitely something I feel like I had to deal with growing up, and it just turned same thing. It turned into that. Like I feel like I've always had to just do so many things to show that okay, you can do this. Um, and reading that just once again, it just brings you back to the whole point of the book. It's like there's a reason why you're doing that. Here's the reason why, and you can you don't have to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a really good one for me.
I like that. Mine's actually jumping back to page 111, kind of midway through. I kind of like the way she phrases like the relationship with how you can't, how it used to be like you need to change the way you think and like suppress your thoughts and stuff like that, but the science behind that doesn't really work. So they say part of the reason that thought suppression is ineffective is that each time you check whether you're successfully avoiding a thought, is it working? Am I not thinking about the red balloon? The act of checking brings that thought back to mind. So it's one of those things where they put these like checks in place. It even has like it shows you on the next page, like just like so or 2 pages later, like just the thought process of like this happens, you think this, am I doing better? But like it is kind of like it is kind of like a cool thing to think about, or at least something to know. Like you don't want to be sitting there like, am I getting better? Da, 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 necessarily. You just want to keep on pushing forward because if you have to keep on checking back, it's like almost like the negative side of it. Like, am I? It's like where those thoughts can creep in. I feel like.
There
That
it
wraps up 7.
goes. On to 8. Choosing when to listen and how not to. I like this quote. There will always be critics and naysayers telling you you cannot do. They motivate you to rise above, to challenge yourself, to prove them wrong. Um, my highlights is on the emotion mind. I thought this was interesting. According to line on 127, according to Linehan, we have 3 primary states of mind: emotion mind, rational mind, and wise mind. Being an emotion mind, though, refers to a state where logical thinking has been hijacked. Planning becomes difficult, and data may be misinterpreted through a lens of upset. The rational side of our brain is responsible for planning, scheduling, paying bills, and attending to facts. Rational mind though, refers to a state of mind that is overly analytical or intellectual, where emotions are disregarded. Being strictly an emotion mind or rational mind has a cost. Wise mind, though, is where emotion mind and rational mind intersect. Thought it was
Mhm.
really interesting how they break that down.
Yeah, it's good to see that. And then they have that little, what is that? A Venn diagram?
Venn
Venn
diagram.
diagram.
Oh my
Jeez.
gosh. Haven't made
Jeez.
one of those forever. I
I
like
just, one of mine was on 128. It was just one of the little bullet points. If I didn't fear the outcome, what would I do? I think that's a just really short but powerful quote because it's like, if you can think like that, when you're addressing goals and ideas that you have, I think it would be really helpful to help propel you forward, because it's like, all right, if let me think of it as if I didn't have any limitations. How would I map this out? And I think that just gives you a much clearer picture on what you need to do.
For sure. All right, well, let's keep with the trend. I'm going to keep going backwards in the chapter. Let's go to 121. So I thought this was really cool about like the relationship they talked about with your thoughts, where it says thoughts and feelings share a bidirectional relationship. If you're feeling anxious and you encounter an ambiguous statement, you are more likely to interpret it as threatening rather than neutral. In other words, thoughts affect how we feel and feelings affect how we think. Both thoughts and feelings affect how we act if we let them. So it's one of those things where, you know, if you're not in the right headspace and stuff like that, you're going to be, it's almost like your radar's off. Like you're going to be, oh, if you feel like you're getting threatened, but they just want this, but you're taking it this way. And obviously that's a slippery slope, because you don't want to blame the other person or like necessarily put it, but I mean from your own perspective, because that's what the book is about. It's for yourself and not for other people. I think just having an understanding of that, like if you're not checking your feelings, if you're not checking your thoughts, they're going to affect your feelings. Like that's really, thoughts and feelings, they have a bi-direction, which means they go the same way. So it's like if your thoughts are going negative, your actions and your feelings are going to go negative. So just trying to guard that, I guess.
I have one more on
Stay positive.
131 real quick.
Let's roll.
The whole flying a kite idea. She describes flying. She was in a situation where she was watching two kids flying a kite. One of them actually like let the kite go, and then like the other one, she basically was just like doing it in like such small increments that it just wasn't allowing the kite to fly.
Right.
And she says, watching this scene, I thought, this is exactly what happens with thoughts. When we keep them too close, they get all tangled and steal our attention. But when we create distance, we can watch them dance or even put them down or just do our thing. Step back from your thoughts. Give them space, be able to see it, and then you'll have a better picture.
That was a good analogy.
Yeah,
I like
it was.
that
It
analogy.
really was.
Moving on, chapter 9, fear, self-doubt, shame, and the allure of the comfort zone.
All right, Chase, you jump into the back of the chapter. Well, here, you want me to go first? I actually have one somewhat early on.
Yeah, you
All right.
can.
So on page 144, I kind of highlighted the middle portion of that. And it says, economists refer to the tendency to choose short-term benefits over long-term gain as present bias. Nobel Prize-winning psychologist Daniel Kahneman calls it a general law of least effort, and behavioral scientist Katie Milkman refers to it simply as impulsivity. In essence, if there are multiple ways of achieving a goal, humans will opt for the least demanding course of action to get there. Whatever you call it, the path of least resistance is a very common form of EA. I thought that it was just like good, like kind of representation of just not allowing yourself to be lazy and just searching for the easiest way necessarily to do stuff, but the right way.
Yeah, and EA is
Emotional acceptance, right?
experiential.
Oh, experiential
avoidance.
avoidance. Oh, that's great. What does that mean?
It's okay.
What does it mean?
Experiential avoidance. It means
It's
avoiding the
Exper-
experience.
Experiential
That's right.
avoidance.
On 142,
Emotional
that was my highlight. Experiential avoidance is anything we do or don't do to feel less of what we don't want or more of what we do,
That's right.
and to prevent feared outcomes from occurring. The examples include situational avoidance, substance use, distractions like social media and binge watching shows, lashing out, perfectionism, procrastination, isolation, or compulsive gambling, sex, or shopping. It's a lot in that.
It's a laundry list.
Yeah, it is. But on 143, my quote, when you overachieve, you risk burnout and never really outrun imposterism.
That's
Double-edged sword there. Good old imposterism. Just, you want to be successful and you want to do the best and outwork everybody. But if you burn yourself out, then you're going to feel like you're not doing enough and you just feel like an imposter at that point, once again. So it's a tough little cycle to deal with, but you just got to know what tools you have to deal with it.
And not to jump ahead too much, but she even talks about like, you know, that as far as that feeling going away, the more successful you become, the more likely your imposters and feelings are going to show up, right? Because you're doing more and you're achieving more. So it's like, it's not going to go away necessarily. Like you got to just find a way to have a healthy relationship with it and be able to look at it in a proper light.
Yeah. My highlight was on 148. Human beings are evolutionary wired for connection and belonging. Time and time again, research has shown the single most powerful predictor of overall health and well-being is the presence of quality relationships.
Right, that exact thing.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I remember reading that, and I'm just like, it reminded. What book was that? That it's a similar thing. It was talking about how we all need like relationships, good
It was not the
relationships.
48 Laws of Power.
Moving on, chapter 10, the 5 sorts of avoidance.
Yes.
This was great.
Did you guys take the quiz?
I don't think I took the quiz.
I didn't take
Ah,
it.
you jokers. All right, I took the quiz. I guess my, what is this? Is for avoidance. Yeah, my avoidance was the thinker. Was the thinker. Do we want to go over the avoidances?
Yeah, the 5.
Because
Yeah.
I highlighted the definitions of them.
So did I.
Okay, you go ahead. You go first. We'll
All
go
right.
with the doer. And we'll
The
just
doer.
rotate.
Doers are all about staying busy. They often avoid emotional pain and difficult thoughts by being so active that there's no space for experiencing them. The doer's mode is go, 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 do, do, do. The more often you find a doer making lists, running around accomplishing the task on a list, and relishing
Relishing. Yeah.
checking off items on a list.
Hmm.
That's a doer.
The hider. The hider is the opposite of the doer and is a person who seeks comfort by remaining unseen. When difficult emotions like fear, uncertainty, anger, dread, insecurity, or imposterism arise, the hiders escape pain by shutting down, going quiet, being passive, procrastinating, isolating, and avoiding situations that trigger discomfort.
Wow.
Do you have the definitions of them highlighted for the pulsive? Or do you? Oh yeah, you do. You got that right there.
Impulsive seek relief from discomfort through compulsive and impulsive behaviors like using substances, shopping, skin picking, cutting, eating, gambling, having sex, hair pulling, nail biting, counting, checking, or other rituals. Impulsives may also lash out verbally or physically when angered or frustrated.
That's funny. You basically were just talking
Jeez.
about all that stuff.
Yeah.
He said sex twice on the podcast already. It's early.
The otherer relies on to facilitate pain avoidance. They do this by reassuring, seeking, people pleasing, or being a follower rather than a leader. Others avoid choosing the movie or restaurant and prefer that others decide.
Like it. And then the last one is the thinker. And the thinker is the person who reduces or avoids distress by worrying, ruminating, thinking through, and mentally solving every possible outcome, overanalyzing every situation or decision. The thinker is always in their head. They worry and what if. They plan for the worst case scenario. They intellectualize. They ruminate about and go over past conversations, experiences, or social media posts, and they plan ahead for future conversations.
There you go. Yeah, I did not take the quiz, but you took the quiz, Lando,
I did.
and you were the.
I was the thinker. I was
thinker?
26% thinker, and then the next and then 21% impulsive, and then it kind of drops, or 23% doer.
That's what I
and then
feel like. When I
impulsive.
was reading them, I was like, I think I'm like close to 2, and then far off on the others. I think that's
That's typically how
majority
it
of
tends to
people-
go whenever we took the quiz last time.
Yep.
But moving on, chapter 11, getting comfortable being uncomfortable. So it was a good one. Let me see if I can find my highlight. Feel free to chime in if you guys found yours.
I'll kick it off because it kind of segues what the chapter's about. On page 166, it's talking about basically resistance and pain and how to deal with that. And it says, resisting pain creates greater suffering and often moves us further from our values. When we give up resistance, we reduce suffering. So like that's, not trying to struggle, kind of trying to understand that that's just what it's going to be. That you're going to have to deal with that stuff and, in your brain just trying to figure out a way to, I've said it a million times, you just have a healthy vantage point on that.
Mm-hmm. I found one on 184. It's just a section, and it's changing your relationship with your with thoughts and to feelings, where you observe thoughts without getting hooked, as well as allow feelings without resistance, is the key to psychological flexibility.
I don't have anything.
I-
here.
honestly,
I will say
This one was a lighter chapter.
I highlighted
Charts.
178 on page 178 where she was saying do the whole good food then try the bad food test, and I said nah. I'm not putting no bad food in my mouth and just
Resistance,
sitting
man.
there and dealing with it. I
It's
was
just
like,
resistance.
yeah, okay, I'm resistant.
That's okay. I
He's
agree with
aware
you.
of the resistance. At
I'm
least.
aware of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
ain't going.
flying through. We're on the part 3 of the book, which is living full size, not fun size. Starting off with chapter 12. Together we can, connecting with the community and changing the world. I can go first. On 191, humans crave connection and the benefit of a community, a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals is clear. Then it jumps down. It says one meta-analysis of 16 longitudinal studies demonstrated that poor social connections put people at risk for cardiovascular disease and robustly predicted morbidity and mortality.
Wow.
Which just goes back to, again, like the other quote I said, where it's just like relationships. So relationships and community are like the foundations of like keeping us healthy.
And not only that, like just the complexity of humans. It's like if we don't get those, we can like work against ourselves. We can make ourselves sick. We can make ourselves depressed. Like you can convince your brain that you're sick and you'll become sick. So it's like if you're really not fostering those relationships, it can go crazy.
Well, I've heard the theory of when you are isolated like that, like you start hearing voices and your brain's tricking you to hear voices, so it sounds like you're in a community.
Wow. Makes sense.
So that's why
Honestly.
you start talking to yourself and stuff. It's because you're trying to make sure you're not alone.
Dude, I've done that on my 15-hour drives. I'm not even
Same.
joking.
Same.
Not even joking.
Um,
What you got?
mine's on 193. It just talks about like the two things that community helps with. So, first, community helps us get past the stage of the delicate dream. And then second benefit to community is that having accountability partners. So, I think the first part, getting past the delicate dream, when you tell somebody about your dreams and your goals and like these people align with them, then it's like, okay, like it's possible to do that. And then the second part, having them be the accountability partners. It's like when you express those things to somebody, like, hey, I want to do this, this, and this. Okay, like you said you were going to do this, this, and this. So where are you along this journey? So I think this whole rest of this chapter, honestly, talking about community, it's so important, and there's so many ways you could use it to expand your own dreams if you think of it in the right mindset.
In the same way that we're not meant to be alone, that insinuates that we can't do that on our own. You need accountability. Like I was talking to Chase a little bit. I've kind of sought out a little bit of a mentor and stuff, just like to get some more accountability. And it like just changes my days because it's like I'm gonna have to see this person.
Exactly.
I can lie, but then that's gonna feel worse. So it's one of those things where, having some type of accountability and community is huge.
And
for sure.
if we have time, I have a bonus one on that on 198.
Cool. That's where I haven't gone yet.
Oh, you haven't gone?
Yeah,
Is that yours?
I'd love to read your bonus question.
Oh.
She cites the research
Nope.
of Jeffrey. Okay, she cites the research of. I got a better one. Of Jeffrey Hall, a University of Kansas professor who studied the amount of time we need to spend with others to truly forge a bond. For an acquaintance to become a casual friend, you're looking at about 50 hours of quality time together. For that casual friend to become a good friend, plan on 90 hours. And to become a very close friend, 200 hours of quality time. That's a lot.
It is. It definitely is.
Yeah, because I like divided it. I was like, 200 divided by 24, and it was like, what was it again?
So was that your quote?
Yes.
Cooked.
Well, the first part wasn't. That's why it threw me off.
Yeah, I got it.
But yeah, 200 divided by 24 is 8 days together. 24 hours, 8
Wow.
days.
It does go on to say that like texting and stuff like that counts.
Yeah.
So like because otherwise
That would be
it's a lot of time with someone.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
tough,
8
bro.
solid days.
if you want to become really good friends with them, you would assume you'd want to spend that much time with them.
Can you
But like,
imagine going on a 10-day cruise and you're
Yeah,
like, dude,
Yeah.
we're long-time buddies.
that's
man."
how it honestly is. Though.
Yeah.
I feel like that's
Sure.
the way that it is. Like vacation friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, like it's a movie, but it's maybe some basis to it.
All right.
go.
Moving on. Chapter 13, self-compassion.
I got the quote on this one. You're already stuck with yourself for a lifetime. Why not improve this relationship?
Yeah.
Veronica Tugvalia. That is an interesting way to spell Veronica. Tugalva.
Tugaleva.
I wonder what the Veronica makes me think it's like a
That's a cool,
like a
like a
Like
different.
Slovakian
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Veronica Tagovailoa.
That's where my mind went.
Sorry,
honestly.
Veronica. All right. Anyways, yeah, self-compassion on this one. That's what this chapter was about.
This was good. I'm not gonna read this whole part, but the on 216 it starts. The compassionate letter. She pretty much gives you an outline of like some questions that you need to ask yourself, and um, I just thought it was really good because I actually started like writing stuff out, just my thoughts and feelings. I started writing them out again, and it actually got me through a situation this past weekend because I'm very forgetful about some pretty important things, and in turn, it like affects my relationship in a very negative way.
Mm.
And being able to just write out my thoughts, just it definitely helped me sort out the whole situation without even having to talk to my partner about it. Like, it's just like, okay, like this is what I did wrong, and I'm sure this is how it made you feel, like X, Y, and Z, and I'm sorry for making you feel this way. And even after doing that, it's just like I feel better because I sorted everything out. She gets the proper apology and understands that I know what I did wrong, and in turn, it just makes a better, healthier communication. It just works so much better that way. So, if you do get this book, Compassionate Letter, I mean, it's to yourself, but it's super helpful.
Nice. Want me to go?
I got mine. Depends on. Mine's
Well,
on.
you tried to cut me off last
mine's on
time. You didn't let
213.
me go.
Well, honestly,
Yeah,
you can go.
I'll go. So on middle of 215, it says, sometimes when people first start to practice being kind to themselves, it can feel a little awkward or corny, but research has shown that self-compassion is associated with greater optimism, resilience, personal initiative, positive effect, feelings of social connectedness, and a greater sense of overall well-being and life satisfaction. Self-compassion even buffers against social comparison and low self-esteem. Self-esteem fluctuates constantly and relies on social comparison to have it. To have it, we have to believe that we are better than others. Self-compassion is different. It's practically the opposite because it focuses on the connection with others, recognizing that we suffer together. In fact, the root of the word compassion is to suffer with. And then I had what did I write on the side over here? I said, it makes me think that there's more than one way to be successful. Like, how do you want to feel once you get to the top? Like, do you want to feel like, you're stepping on people and all this other stuff to get there? Or do you want to just, live? That's something that I took from like this chapter is, if you forsake everybody on your way there and you take advantage of people, you're not going to have any connections, any quality relationships when you get there because you burned all your bridges just to get where you're at. So that was something that I took from that.
I like that, bro. That was great.
Dude, I was like, this got to be my highlight because I wrote something.
Mine kind of builds off yours. Mine's short and sweet. It says higher levels of self-criticism, which is kind of the
What page you
opposite.
on?
213.
213.
Yeah, this is the opposite. If you don't have the self-compassion, is higher levels of self-criticism were associated with lower goal achievement. Which is, interesting.
mean, how I'm very like, are you guys like aggressive with yourself when you make mistakes?
Oh yeah.
Like I'm violent with myself almost, like only like in bad situations and not like that, but like I am very like, yo, you got to do better.
Yeah.
Like do better than
Yeah.
that. That's awful, you idiot. Like, and not like super, super bad, but it is to that like relationship where
I think it's all a balance too, because you need that to push
she
yourself
says
to
that
be
too.
better. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, but it is more negative in my head, realizing that reading this book. Like it could be a more positive critique than like
instead of like, you
critique.
idiot, be like, bro, you know better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because exactly.
Gotta give yourself some type of grace
Yeah.
every now and then.
Chapter 14, the finale. Keep going.
Keep going.
Last chapter of the book. I had one on 224. What Michelle has learned is that the naysayers never go away, but the most successful people learn how to live with the noise and push forward with their goals, leaning on the supportive people that they have met along the way.
That Michelle Obama story was pretty cool.
Yeah. I like when they do that, where they like describe the come up, and then they're like, they just only give the first name, and then it was like Michelle Obama. We're like, oh, that's crazy.
Marshall Mathers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. highlight that too. I was literally, I didn't even start looking because I was on that highlight just looking at it. Okay, I actually kind of got something that relates to that since we're name dropping. On page 230, it says, but as boxer Sugar Ray Leonard is thought to have said, if you never know failure, you will never know success. And I think that's just like, you can't really be afraid to fail. Like you got like, because there's no such thing as like failure. There's just, you know, the opportunity to try again. I don't know. There's a better way to say it out there, I'm sure, but like, yeah, if you don't, I mean, if you're not willing to fail, then you'll never really know what you can do, I feel like.
Yeah.
That you guys like literally got both my points that I'm
Dang.
Dude, I got one more highlight thing because
I got one too.
All right, cool.
Run
Let's wrap this with two more highlights because I did a big circle on this one. So it says on 232, kind of near the bottom. Oh my! It's now I'm talking about all these famous people. When Michelangelo was asked how he created great sculptures like David, he explained that he imagined the finished sculpture already existed inside the block of marble. Then he chipped away little by little to reveal what was already there. The people you imagine are somehow smarter, better, or more successful than you, don't have a slew of qualities that you don't. They've just chipped away at what is obscuring the best versions of themselves. And I was like, oh, that's a great picture on just like what that should look like. It was cool.
I saw a quote on that the other day. I need to find it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be your quote of the day. Mine was right above that, actually. It was consider a goal and then ask yourself why you want to achieve it. Write down your answer either in a long form or in simple bullet points. When you encounter one more rejection or watch someone else achieve a professional milestone that you've been dreaming, and maybe even if you know that the person is less talented or hardworking than you, when no one comments on your posts, or when your mind tells you you're not enough, or when you're a fraud and tries to talk you out of pursuing your dreams, what's going to keep preserving you and moving forward? Why will you keep moving forward? It's all about the why.
That's what this book. Yeah, that's what this book ends up talking about. It's all about the why, and that wraps it up. So I always like to do this with you guys. Once we finish the book, what is your biggest takeaway? Would you say from the Imposter Syndrome No More?
I'll go first. My biggest takeaway is the mind is so complex, and depending on your perspective, can either ruin you or propel you forward to your goals. And it's really just about the mindset and controlling and like self aware that you're going down a certain path and how to correct it is what I got from it.
I like that. That's great. I would say, so initially when we started reading the book, I was kind of like, okay, I kind of don't relate to some of this stuff because I feel like my mind's kind of fortified the proper way, especially after reading all these books that we have dealing with, just self-development and all that stuff. But as we were going through it even more, it's like it just shows you certain reasons why you do things. That was probably my favorite part about all this is like it lets you understand like these feelings of imposterism are from certain things that have happened in your lifetime, and here are the tools to navigate. But I think my biggest overall takeaway is that you will never you'll never outrun this feeling. Once again, you just have to equip yourself with the tools, and that'll help get you through those certain feelings when they do arise. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like you just have to have the tools to get through these things.
That's good. I like you'll never outrun that. That
Mhm.
was like that was a big key point.
Yeah.
I got kind of two that I wanted to share. One of them was from earlier on in the book. They put a bigger focus on it, especially with the epitaph, and just thinking that time isn't promised. So learn to be present while you're here. Like I've noticed that even recently. Like I go home, my grandparents are older, so not trying not to be on my phone when I'm in the same room with them because it's like, on its face it's no big deal, but if you actually think, then you're just like, come on, like that's not. So just trying to be more present, while we're here because time is precious. And then I also said just trying to make conscious decisions and not like ones on autopilot. Just make decisions that reflect your core values and stuff like that. So that way you can just feel more positive. Because if you're making decisions that align with your values, it would be weird for you to feel off. You should feel on
Yeah.
all the time.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I like that.
there we go.
Yeah, good book. Hey, another one
Solid.
down.
Another one
Another
down.
Another one down.
Another one.
Now we put it on the stack. Honestly, someone wants to borrow this. I won't put it on the stack, so I will hold mine off. But
Hold off to it, but now we got to debut the new book. It is
Debuting.
time to
I'm
debut
ready
My
the
book.
new book.
I'm so
All right,
ready,
it's
bro.
Chase's turn. Here we go. First
So-
book of the
So
new
ready.
year.
First book
First
of the
book
new
of
year
the new year.
is a thick boy.
Let's
It's a
go.
thick
I know we
one.
saw a
That's
picture of it.
right.
800 pages.
Right, bro.
No, this one's nice and small. This is called The Millionaire Next Door.
Wow.
So, this is actually a very popular book, The Millionaire Next Door: The Surprising Secrets of the America's Wealthy. #1 personal finance bestseller. Yeah, this has been talked about a lot. A lot of people have recommended this book to me, and just about basically, you never know who's like next to you, and like you never know based on some people, like usually the millionaires are driving the Honda,
Yep.
while the people that are that are wanting to be the millionaires are driving the Ferraris.
Okay.
So it's like the ones that are saying that those are the rich people, while the wealthies are still driving the Hondas, and they don't care about those things. So yeah, I thought this one's going to be an interesting one. It's a nice short read, so we're kind of just warming back up into the new year.
Okay,
Very
so
dense though.
How many pages do we got here? It
it
starts on
is-
7. Unless you want to do the introduction, we'll just start it on 1.
Yeah.
Start on 1, and
Started
it
on
goes all the way to the
Ooh.
acknowledgements are 2 something.
211, I think.
Like this.
245 is the last.
Wait, 245.
Oh, maybe did I skip?
Wait a second. No, is that part
Yeah,
of
it's
it?
245.
No, that is part of it. My bad. I saw a chart and I thought that was not part of the. I thought that was too far.
I
Yeah.
like this. Just
So
scanning
it goes
through
all the way to
already.
245.
Yeah, 245.
Yep.
So
So 245 divided by. Don't go my phone. 245 divided by 4.
are you're gonna calculate it out?
Like
62 pages. 61 and a half.
Oh, close. 61 and a quarter.
nice.
All right, so we'll do 60. 62
let's see
pages.
where we're at then. So around 60-ish.
60.
71's a chapter.
I mean, we can go.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be 71, I think.
Yeah, we can go 71.
71.
71. Starting it off
Time,
strong.
energy, and money. But yeah, so yeah, that's why I thought this book, and I was like, oh, it's nice, short, and sweet. It's a quick read, easy read, and
It's just as
yeah,
long as
I'm
this book.
curious. I'm curious to see what the Secrets of America's Wealthy is.
Yeah, this.
Be
I'm
interesting.
excited for this.
There we go.
Yeah, but yeah, and hey, it's got the nice cover.
Yeah, it does. It does.
We're gonna have to pick books.
It's
No
like-
more hardcovers.
No, it's literally the same material as the cover of
It
the
is.
last one.
It is
But
nice.
it's locked onto the book.
Yeah,
Don't have to deal with
That's
that.
what you want.
yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, all right. Now moving on to our short snippets. Are we ready for that? Are we ready?
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. No, you guys forgot.
gonna be
didn't you?
ready. Good. I'm
Okay,
good.
I'll
He's
go
ready.
first.
Yeah, I'm gonna get there.
I'll go first.
Oh, I don't got my phone. All right. We're
All
gonna
right.
do off the dome.
You're gonna be thought provoking. All right. All right. Ready? Okay. Fun fact of the day of 2024. Starting it off. Giraffes and humans have the same amount of neck bones.
What?
You should just cut it where you said giraffes and humans have the same neck.
Basically,
No.
Neck
way.
bones.
Neck bones.
Same amount of neck bones.
same
Theirs
amount
are
of neck
just
bones.
like a lot bigger and longer.
Yeah.
Pause.
Bro, that's stop. That's crazy. Like, how is that even? How is that
Interesting.
possible?
Wild.
Dude,
What the
There you
heck?
go. There's your fun
See?
fact of the day.
That's
we're
great.
part giraffe. Wait,
So-
are we? Is it just giraffes have the exact same amount? I'd be curious
That's
to know
what
that,
it
like
said.
giraffes and monkeys, or like there's a few.
I don't know. Maybe we'll have to find out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Maybe the next one
Didn't
will be
make it.
monkeys.
Shout out to the giraffes.
Shout out to the giraffes. Okay, so I found that quote. It goes along with what we were saying earlier. A foolish doer will outperform a smart thinker every time.
Hmm.
Really?
Like that. Just you gotta
That's
do
true.
more.
That's
Do
so
more.
true.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna learn
Bro,
mostly
Yeah, exactly.
trial and error
I mean, we
compared to
see
just
it.
fixating on something. Yeah.
See it all the time.
All right.
Just doing
Are
it.
you
Especially
ready?
That's what we are. We're foolish doers over here. Do something, then we figure out a way to do it the right way.
Exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
my thought-provoking question. Oh man, I got bailed out that it's a new year, so I'm just gonna phrase it this way: what's something for 2024 that you want to improve on, or that you want to work at, or even something that you want to do? What's like some type of something that you want from 2024.
I'll go. I don't know. 2024 for me is such a crazy year
It
because
is. Oh
I'm
man.
traveling a lot and like getting married and stuff like that.
Yep.
So, I'd say just making sure that I'm allocating the time correctly.
Mm.
Like where I'm putting the time that needs to be in the right spots because it's such a busy year.
Mm,
So really focus on like being efficient with your time because I'm gonna be
I like
doing
that.
so much. But that's my
I like that a lot.
one. That and trying to go to the gym again, but that's a typical one.
Yeah, I can't use that.
Yeah.
I mean
That only lasts for weeks.
I was gonna jump on that one.
I like it. No, go ahead, but you go ahead.
That was
Go ahead.
literally
You just try
I
and work
need,
out
bro,
more.
I need to exercise.
Exercise more.
Yeah.
So I was checking my blood pressure and I'm like, this is not good.
Mm.
Like I need to eat better. I need to exercise more because we're playing the long game here, guys. Like I want to be here for as long as possible, do as many things as possible. So yeah, that kind of put it into perspective. It's actually why we went to the hospital on Christmas Day. Man, fiance wasn't feeling good. Found out her blood pressure was high. So that was the reason why we were in the hospital. And yeah, we had a little, I mean, it took what? We were there Christmas Day, and our little miracle happened on the 28th.
Wow.
Yeah, so just got to take care of ourselves, man. So important. Mind, body, and health, just the whole thing. I want to last in this game.
Health.
Yeah,
Health is a big goal.
exactly.
great.
All right,
That's
Lando. End
yeah.
us off. What's yours?
So my goal this year, I told you guys a little bit earlier that I've kind of reached out to like a mentor just to kind of help give me some guidance and stuff like that. Just someone that I can talk to about like some of the super tough stuff. And we've actually started doing like a Bible study together. So we're trying to read through the entire Bible in 1 year, and he's giving me like a checklist of stuff to do. So I want to try and stay dedicated to it. I haven't hit all of my readings every day, but I want to stay. I have read every day, and I want to try and make sure that I stay on track with that so that I just feel like I'm in a much better space there whenever I'm just like trying to pull from a higher power and not just like try and think that it's all about me and trying to do stuff for myself. So I guess so to go along with that, just live a more selfless life this year
I like
Yeah,
that.
there
and
you
going
go.
forward.
It's great.
Nice.
All right.
All right. There's our kind of goals and aspirations. And obviously, I think all of our goals is also read more books.
Yes.
And we are going to be
We don't get a choice.
kicking we're going to be kicking off the new year with The Millionaire Next Door: The Surprising Secrets of America's Wealthy by Thomas J. Stanley
All
and
the way to
William
71.
D. Janko. Yeah, all the way to 71,
71.
page 71, guys. But if you are willing to tune in, feel free to buy the book and read along, help support the podcast. But until next time, peace.